Formula One spent billions building the future, and it might already be falling apart. In less than 3 races, the sport has lost nearly half its audience in key markets. Drivers are calling the cars unpredictable. Engineers are rushing into emergency meetings to fix something that was supposed to be revolutionary. But here's the real problem. On the straights, cars can suddenly lose 50% of their power in a fraction of a second while another car is still at full speed, closing in fast. This is not just bad racing. This is a system that may be fundamentally broken. The collapse did not happen overnight. That is what makes this so dangerous. Because from the outside, everything still looks normal. The cars are on track, the lights go out, the races happen. But underneath that surface, something is slowly breaking. You can see it in the smallest details. Drivers are lifting off the throttle earlier than ever before. They are not attacking into corners anymore. They are preparing for the next straight. They are not thinking about overtaking. They are thinking about energy management. And this changes the DNA of Formula One. This sport was never about managing. It was about pushing every lap, every corner, every braking zone. But now there is hesitation. And hesitation at 300 kilometers per hour is not just unusual. It is unnatural. The drivers are not just adapting. They are complaining, quietly at first, then more openly. One driver described the cars as unpredictable. Another said it feels like something completely different from Formula One. When multiple world champions start questioning the direction of the sport, this is not a minor issue. Most people still think this is just about driving feel. It is not. This goes much deeper. Every time a driver lifts off the throttle earlier than expected, every time a car suddenly slows down on a straight, every time another car closes in faster than anticipated, you are creating scenarios that did not exist before. Speed differences that are not natural, not gradual, but sudden, sharp, and difficult to predict. The first major warning came through a crash that should not have happened. Not in modern Formula One, with all the technology and data available. Yet it occurred. But here is the detail most people missed. It was not caused by driver error. It was not caused by weather. It was not even caused by mechanical failure. It was caused by the system itself. A system designed to improve racing created a situation where one car behaves completely differently from another in the exact same piece of track. This is something Formula One has spent decades trying to eliminate. But now it is back in a new form, more complex, harder to detect, and much more difficult to fix. While this is happening on track, something even more alarming is happening off track. The people running the sport are starting to react. Not publicly, not dramatically, but urgently. Meetings are being scheduled. Technical groups are being assembled. Manufacturers are being called in. When Formula One starts moving this fast behind closed doors, it means one thing: they are running out of time. The real question is not what they are fixing. It is what they are trying to prevent. If this continues, if the racing does not improve, if the risks increase, if the fans keep leaving, then this is no longer about a bad regulation. This becomes something much bigger. Formula One can survive controversy. It can survive dominance. It can even survive boring seasons. But what it cannot survive is disconnection. And that is exactly what is happening. Races no longer feel intuitive. You are not watching drivers push to the limit anymore. You are watching systems manage themselves, energy targets, deployment phases, harvest modes. If you need to understand a spreadsheet to understand a race, something is broken. This is not just about entertainment. This is about identity. Formula One has always sold one core idea: the fastest drivers in the fastest cars pushing harder than anyone else in the world. But now that idea is fading. When cars are slower, when drivers are lifting, when overtakes depend more on battery state than skill, that identity starts to crack. And once that cracks, everything else follows. Qualifying exposed this more than anything else. The one session where nothing is supposed to be held back, pure speed, maximum attack, no compromises. And yet even there, drivers were not pushing flat out because they could not. Pushing meant draining the battery too early. One lap was no longer just about speed. It was about timing, energy, and positioning. Suddenly, the fastest lap was not always the fastest car. It was the best managed lap. Fans noticed. They may not understand the technical details, but they understand when something feels wrong. When the spectacle loses clarity, when the fastest driver is not obviously the fastest, that confusion creates distance. While fans are starting to disconnect, teams are starting to divide strategically. Some teams want change, urgent change. Others do not because they are winning. In Formula One, if you are winning, you protect the system even if that system is flawed. Now you have two forces pulling in opposite directions. Fix the problem or preserve the advantage. Right in the middle of that tension is the FIA trying to balance safety, competition, politics, and time. Time is the one thing they do not have. Every race that passes reinforces the same pattern. Drivers adapting instead of attacking, engineers controlling instead of unleashing, fans questioning instead of celebrating. The fixes they are working on do not solve the core issue. They reduce the symptoms. Less extreme power differences, faster energy recovery, better warnings, safer conditions, all necessary, all urgent. But none of them address the fundamental contradiction, a system that demands both maximum performance and constant limitation at the same time. That contradiction does not disappear with adjustments. It stays underneath everything. Every proposed fix is not a solution. It is a workaround. Reduce power here, increase recovery there, add warnings, limit extremes, smooth the behavior. But the core remains untouched. This creates a dangerous illusion from the outside. It looks like progress. Inside, they know it is containment. And containment works until it does not. Miami is not just about performance. It is about perception. If fans feel improvement, the narrative stabilizes. If they do not, the narrative collapses. And once a narrative collapses, it spreads faster than any technical fix. People stop asking how to fix it and start asking something much more dangerous. Was this a mistake from the beginning? If that question takes hold, then what comes next is not just a regulation change. It is a loss of trust. And that is the hardest thing to recover. Here is the real problem that time cannot solve. The foundation of these rules cannot be changed. Not easily, not quickly, and in some cases, not at all. The 50% electric split is locked in. Long-term agreements with manufacturers are in place. Billions have already been invested. Entire engine programs are built around it. You cannot just walk that back. That door is closed. Because now Formula One is not trying to perfect a system. It is trying to survive it. The sport knew. Not everything, not every detail, but enough. There were warnings about energy management complexity, concerns about removing the MGUH, doubts about active aerodynamics, signals that this could become unstable. But the momentum was too strong. The narrative was too important. A new era, sustainability, innovation, relevance. Formula One needed this to work. So it moved forward. Now it is dealing with that decision in real time in front of everyone. But still quietly. Because admitting the scale of the problem would create something even bigger. Doubt not just in the rules, but in the direction of the sport itself. And Formula One cannot afford that.